welcome. Woman! Hey! Woman! Hey! Woman! Salona for whichever place una dey, una dey watch this live. Salon una welcome for MyTake live. Again, today's topic, as una fit read the title, submissive wife. Now hot, hey, in fact, now hot topic wey just come out fresh from the fire. So I want us welcome. I want all una there online. Hey, my sister, I want all una there online. More una help more participate for this topic. I really need una own opinion, because when we talk about submissive, a wife, when I say a wife, I put on my title today a wife, not woman. Like on my post, I said let's talk about submissive woman. But if you notice today, I changed it to submissive wife. The reason why I changed it to submissive wife is because if you are not yet married, you are not supposed to be submissive to any man. More get that clear. Submissive wife comes as our duty of a married. When you are married me legally married. Once you are married, it is it is part of that vow taking. That's submissive. It is part of vow taking. So before we even dive deep into submissive wife, I want to get a point clean and clear. Women are not supposed to be submissive to men. It is a different thing. When we talk about submissiveness, I emphasize on this point because today, with our feminism going on, which I am for it, we sometimes getting mixed up with men as a general and your husband. So we have to be clear with these differences. Women are not supposed to be submissive to men as a broad term. As a broad term of women, as a broad term of men, we are not supposed to be submissive to men broadly. But when it comes to our husband, that is where that word submissive applies to. Because what I always say, I take my knowledge from the Bible. So I don't want this thing where when women they go for meeting or they go for work, they want talk, men they shush them. You are not supposed to shush or quiet any woman in any place when she's doing her job, or it's a place that is something that is good for her family. She's talking. You, a man, you quiet the woman, say, hey, now she man, this way you run him up. Get that very well. Submissiveness is relatable to husband and wife, not women versus men. More get that very well clear first before we dive into the topic. I'm saying so because culturally we know how come out. When women they want to talk, when it comes to decision making to build a community, to help something that could develop our community, some men don't feel that a woman cannot talk. That is wrong. Because they say women are submissive. No, that is not the point here. Submissiveness is between husband and wife. If you do not have the title of a husband, that woman is not supposed or should not, in fact, she should not be submissive to you. So that thing that men like to silence women and say the woman who is standing up for women's rights, for their rights, for progress in their community, for progress in their job, who wants to be a boss in the company, who wants to run, who have better idea to help other women and who have better idea to help the society. Men feel like women who are standing up for their rights are women who are not submissive, are disobedient. They call them all kinds of names. That is wrong. That is totally wrong. So let's get that clear first. Submission is a story between husband and wife. Nothing else, nothing less. It does not mean that women cannot be manager in their job. It cannot mean that women cannot be leaders. It does not mean that women cannot hold roles of responsibility. It does not mean that women cannot institute significant changes. No. So let's get that point clear first of all, before we are diving to submissiveness. When I talk submissive wife, that's why I changed my language. I put on my post women, then I realized that some people will not get that right. So that's why I want to make that clear. When we talk about submissiveness in marriage, a wife must be submissive to the husband. That is a commandment. It is a commandment from the Lord as regard to marriage. It is not a commandment in a sense that women should be treating like second-class citizens. It is not in a sense that women have no voice. When they talk about silence in the Bible, because hey, I got my thing, everything is from the Bible. I always tell you guys, if you have been following me for long enough now, my reference book to many things that I do or many things that I say is from that holy book. And when you're reading, read broadly so that you get the in-depth of it, you get the in-depth of that submissiveness. And if you are there, you want to understand the real where my point is coming from, just open 1 Peter 3 verse 1 to 6. That's a part of women that we are talking today. And I am emphasizing this point because though it's in the Bible, though we back of our mind we know, but given the society at which we are, we tend to dance around, and in fact we tend to make as if it's not existing. So today I want us to talk. Let's do this matter for real. Let's diagnose it. Is it okay to be submissive to your husband, or is not okay? If anyone is in the point that I want your opinion. Is it okay for a woman in this our generation to be submissive or not? Let's answer that question first. Then we'll go in depth to it, because from that question we'll get in depth to break it down and why some people feel like some husbands, why some people feel like it is too demanding for a woman to be submissive. Because I'm asking that question because some people nowadays, thank you sis for saying that. One of my sisters say here that it is okay. One of my studies here is okay. Thank you for saying that it is okay. I believe that it is okay, because if we know the reason of submission, then we will know that it is okay to be submissive. But again, like I said, it's only with your husband, somebody that has legally married you, not somebody that is not yet married. Why I say it is okay for women to be submissive, because we have to look at the, like the way of creation between the relationship between a woman and a man. I'm going to talk first. For say it be okay. Generally, the man is the head of the house. I've been a lie or not true. To me, not true. And again, if we understand very well the role of the head of the house, we will see and say submission becomes easier if the head of the house is doing their role correctly. One of the reasons why today we look at submission as negative is because of the feminine rights that we are going through today, and we want to talk about that because of the feminism thing that is going on. That is one for some women, and for some other women it's because they feel like their husbands don't have the ability to be the head. We have to talk about that as well. And then for some other women is like, why? I have, like, today we get this thing is like, I have my life to live. We'll talk about that. I have my life to live. I have my life to live. We'll talk about that. So, but in other case, what I'm saying is, if you choose to be married to somebody, then you are choosing to be like, I'm talking as a woman. A woman, let me come back. If a woman chooses to get married to a man, you are definitely choosing that that man is going to be your leader, and your children leader. The man is the leader of the house. So once you are saying you do, women, that is our responsibility. And so when the word submissive comes, is because when a leader is there, you must be submissive to your leader. We must respect the leader, right? But we have to get into involving in that definition of that submissiveness. Submissive means let your husband give your husband the opportunity to lead. That's for me what submissive means. Give your husband the opportunity to lead, meaning that you should not be pulling and fighting the roles with him. When I mean pulling and fighting the roles with him, meaning that he is the head of the family, you are not the head of the family. And again, when we say a head of a family, it doesn't mean that every decision made in that house the man should just sit and just take the decision. No, it doesn't mean that. Decision in the house is the final decision of a house is taken by the man. Ladies, I'm sorry. But a wise man, a man who is a head of the house, knows that if I want to make a decision for my family, for the benefit of my family, that man will talk to the wife about that decision, so that the wife's opinion will help him to make the decision. It is not that woman, we will say, I don't talk so, it must stand. There is nothing like you, a woman in your house, say, I don't talk so, that's so it must be. It must be so. It is very difficult, but it must be so. Submissiveness is actually a good thing if we do it the right way. Now we'll talk about doing it the right way. The Bible talk about the woman's submission, and then he give a man his own role. My husband, they wanna hear me. Hello, husband. If the Bible says, love your wife as Christ loved the church, put your wife first before every other thing. Every other person, every other decision, every other thing. If we both parties say, if the husband put the wife before every other thing, there is no reason why the wife will not give him the tools to make the decision. The wife would definitely give him the tools to make the decision, because the wife will know that his primary focus is the well-being of the family. At least we get and fine. Marry this person in comment, we'll talk about them before we go there. Somebody said, commonly it is difficult for some of us wives to be submissive when we don't feel loved by our husband, and even not happy in the marriage as a whole. I believe 95% of women are willingly to be submissive. So true, my sister. What I was just reading is my sister who says that generally it is difficult for women to be submissive in their marriage, and that's why I'm coming with this submission today. Well, let's talk about it. It is difficult for women to be submissive because I'll give two reasons. One is a general thing, and we have to work on that, which is what I'm bringing this thing today. One of the reasons why it's difficult for women to be submissive, because unfortunately the world of today make it such that we believe that there is no good marriage. That there is no good marriage. When I mean no good marriage, means that there is no husband that is loyal to the wife, that loves the wife like Christ loved the church. No husband that will fight for the well-being of the family. That's one of the reasons. The other second reason why it's hard for women to be submissive, because while in the marriage they were submissive and the husbands were not able to make good decisions that will be the benefit for the family. That is another one. The last one is some women believe that the husband do not love them enough, that the husband do not love them Therefore, they don't see why they should be submissive to that husband. Now, I want more talker. Let's just say we want to talk about the preconceived mindset, which as my sister said, it is true. 95% of women want to be submissive in their marriage. In fact, for all women who is hearing, there is a benefit of being submissive in your marriage because you take away the workload from yourself. If we women, they will not know. To be honest, the Bible actually really loves us. God really loves us. Because when you are submissive to your marriage, means you take away a lot of those stressful trying to be the one running the things. It is not easy to run the things. Women, some of us are going beyond our role and trying to want to be run the things in the house. Once you try to want to run the house, definitely you're putting your husband in a space. You're putting your husband in a space when I mean you're locking him, you're blocking him from shining. So if you can actually step back as a wife and let your husband run the house, right? And call for you when he needs help, then you step up and help. Because generally that's how it should be. The husband is the head, he has the plans of the wife, and then he needs your wife help. He comes to the wife and says, please, let's do this, let's do this. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And together you put your head to come up with the final solution, which the solution your husband will be agree to that. You see, the husband will agree to that. So that is how it is, right? But in our today's world, we tend to too much don't feel like the husband are not able to be the head of the house. And if you have been following me, I made a video about independence in marriage. Go and look that video. After the end of this, I'll put a link to that video. It's called Independency in Marriage. My point of view in that submissive thing, and it comes with independency in the marriage, is that when you are in a house, every party has its role. Women, we sometimes, I'm talking in the space of women, right? We sometimes feel like the men are not doing their own role. We sometimes feel like the men are not standing there for us. So what is happening? We are trying to do our role plus the men's role. That is wrong. Our role as a woman is a lot already in marriage. We have a lot as a wife to do. If we focus on our role, that our wife role, and not that role to be that feminine role in the house, because the feminine role in the house is different from the masculine role. So now we are talking about feminine and masculine, but not in the sense of feminism and that one. No, feminine and masculine role. Our role as a woman is a lot in the house. So if we pay attention to our role and then ready to help our husbands when the need are there, I think it will be easier. I think it will be easier. When I mean our role, you know, we women know, you know, we multitaskers. Want to check how the house is running, what the kitchen is doing, what the kid is doing, be there for our husband when they need us, be taking everything to the Lord for both parties, because as you guys know, sometimes we'll beg them to do the prayers, and they might be very busy sometimes, but we are doing it, we are interceding for them. If we do our own role correctly in the house, generally speaking, the men will come up. The men will come up if we give them the opportunity to make the decisions. On a serious note, if we women will focus on our role and stop trying to do the men their own role, at the end of the day, they must step us. Because that's why I say being submissive is actually good, because if you allow your husband to be the man, he will step up more, he will do more, he will get busy more, and he will be more in the family versus out of the family. He will be more with you. You will work more in team, like a team, versus if you are trying to tell him what to do. I am not saying that if you see your husband doing something that is wrong, you will not draw his attention to. Remember, I say draw his attention to. I don't say you have to find a cane for him. It doesn't mean that if you see your husband doing something that is wrong, it doesn't mean that because you want to be submissive, you will not draw his attention to. No, you will draw his attention to, because that's our role, to help him, right? But we should not compete with him. That's my problem. Submission is looking more in the light of competing with your spouse. Competing in the sense that if he doesn't do his role, you will not do his role. Competing is the sense that he should not be the only one making the decision in the house. Me too, I can make the decision. That's what I'm talking about. Competing in the sense that if he's weak at a certain area, you two want to be weak at a certain area. No, that should not happen. That should not happen. So it is very difficult, tricky. Let me read. Somebody had something here to say. It's a tricky way to find that fine line. But we have to continue. I say we have to because myself, I'm struggling with it. And I believe most women, we are struggling with getting that fine line of being a submissive wife and yet still being able to help your husband, push him a little bit to get to that place where you feel like he should be. Because we women, we need to be there to help our husband, to mold them to be in that spot that we think they should be. And I'll come to that now. Let me read this question first from somebody. The truth is that okay, let me read this first before I continue. Somebody said the truth is that most husbands in our world today want their wife to assume the role of husband and as wife, to assume the role of husband and as wife at the same time. Wives become resentfully and cannot be submissive to our resentment. That's true. Somebody, she continued and say, I understand what you are saying, Gina, but it is really tricky as you put it. That's the point where I want to make on this submissive part. Is the first part. Thank you, my sister, for this comment, because it really makes sense. The first part of it that I want to say is that part that she said, most husbands today wants the wife to have the role of a wife and a husband. I must say this, my sister, I'm a little bit, that one that the husband wants a role of a wife and a husband, I am really thinking that that is not true. It is not true. What I mean is not true is that, yes, when we are talking in that role of wife and role of husband, I know in today's world we must put the finance, because the money is what is the problem, right? The money is a problem, because if the man does not have the financial capability to run the house, then the woman must chip in. I think we are getting that. The woman must chip in, right? But the fact that you're chipping in financially do not mean that you must make the decisions of the house. That's a problem. That's where we are today, actually, and that is one of the major problems we have today in marriages, is that some women earn more than the men, and some men earn more than the women. But besides that, this is how I look at it. To be honest, this is how I look at it. Why do wives allow husband to give them the role of a wife and a husband? That's why I'm making this topic. Why do women even allow that the man will give her both roles? I will not allow that. In fact, I will not, because it is very stressful, and hence the reason for most divorce. It is very stressful. You should not, no woman should even allow to have both roles, the role of a man and the role of a woman in your house, because first of all, marriage itself is difficult, and for you to have both roles is killing. No woman should accept that. But let's not make this mistake. Because say you bring in more income, do not mean that you are having the role of a man in the house. That's one point we have to make it clear. Because most of the time, some women get this twisted, that because I bring in the more money on the table, it means that I am now like the husband of the house, because we sometimes only look at husband in the terms of financial way. Now I want us to look at husband not as finance. In fact, there is no money involved in this. If you were earning lesser money in your house, would you be submissive to your husband? Yes or no? That's how I want us to look at it. If you were earning lesser money in your house, would you be submissive to your husband? Yes or no? That's one question I want women to ask themselves. So why, when you earn more money in your house, you can still not be submissive to your husband? That's something we should think about. And the reason why I ask that question is because submissiveness to marriage should not be connected with money. Because one of the problems we have today is the connection between the role as who is providing for the house. When I mean providing, means who have the more money, who is bringing more, who pays the children's school fees, who pays the house, all that kind of stuff. Who is bringing more money? Marriage should not be based on who is bringing more money. Marriage should be based on who is the head and who is the tail. When I mean tail, I'm not meaning that you don't have a role. I am talking about head of a family as the marriage is entailed to be. There must be a woman and there must be a man in that marriage. If both of you want to be the husband in the house, then there will be a problem in the marriage. There is no way one person should be the husband and the wife in a marriage. It is not possible. It is not possible. It is not possible. So if you are in that house, this is my take. If you are in that house where your husband is wanting you to be both the wife and the husband, my sister, you have to revisit that topic. You have to have a conversation with your husband, because sometimes the men don't even know that what they are doing is what is happening. They don't even know what they are doing. That is what I must say. Meaning that they don't even know that they have let their role completely to their wives and just sit down there and be lazing around. No, you need to wake up and take up your role. If I am a woman and my husband is leaving his role for me, my dear, I open this my mouth talk. You need to get up. You need to wake up and you need to get your or take your role. I don't want to have my role and your role, because personally, I love to be a wife. I don't want to be a husband. No shape, form, or anyhow. Because being a husband has its own things that is there, as well as being a wife has its own role. I love my role as a wife and I don't want a husband role. So if a husband is there that wants the wife to have her role and his role, then there's a mistake. Then you have not understood the definition of marriage. Let me read some comments before I continue. Somebody say here, I don't think Miss Ursula is talking about finance. Okay. She said that I don't think the other person is talking about finance. Let me get back to this. So that we can talk about this, because then it's getting better. So somebody's asking a question because the other person was talking that asked a question, made a comment before that nowadays most men want to let their wife to be both the wife and the husband. And I was saying that it is because I answered the question finance related. So somebody is saying that I don't think that person was talking in regards to finance. My understanding is that if a woman does not feel loved and treated with kindness, it makes it difficult to submit. Plus, if a man fails to step up as a leader or head of the household, let me continue here, head of the household, the wife has to play both roles. It becomes difficult to submit. Okay, it's more about question of, I get the point. So I was answering the other person's question who said that some houses today, the man wants the woman to be both husband and wife, right? And then I answer in the terms of finance, because that is what I see today is happening a little bit in our world today, because ordinarily before, the men were financially more capable than the women. They were leading their house with the resources that the family needs to grow up and to have a better life. But the woman, the question here the other person answered is that my other sister said is that is not what they are saying. What they are saying is that the women are having difficulty to submit because they don't see love and kindness that the man is showing the wife. So therefore, the wife now is finding it harder and harder to submit to that man. And that is true. That is true of what is going on today. Is that the Bible, like the Bible even said itself, is that submission is for the woman as love and leading is for the man. So if the woman don't feel love, some women feel they don't see the reason to be submissive because, hey, by the way, you the man, you are not first of all playing your own role as the head of the house. So why should I play my role as a wife? But ladies, I want us to talk about this thing clean. Like I always say before, we are not doing competition here. You see marriage like this, it is not about who does what. That's what I want to make it clear. It is not about who does what. It is not about if you don't do your own, I will not do my own. If we want a healthy marriage, we have to take away that mindset of, though we all know that both parties have to play their role. That is clean and that is clear. But we should not perform our own role because the other party is not. Because remember, we are not the right place to judge. Because even in the Bible, it says that when a woman should be submissive to a man, even when the man do not deserve it. That is the truth. Even when the man do not deserve it. Just like it says in the Bible that a man should love the woman even when he is hurt, even when she is not submissive to him. The man should love the woman even when the woman is not submissive to him. That is the Bible. It's the same as us, the women. We should be submissive to the man even if we are not getting what they are supposed to be doing as the head of the family. Even if we are not getting that unconditional love from them. Even if they are not body, they are not showing us that they are leaders. We should still be submissive to them. Now, I want to talk something very well about this part of this submissiveness and love. It comes down to, let me rewind this thing fine. This part of this Bible, this submissiveness, it comes down to getting married to somebody you know. That's why, if for the young people who have not married, I hope you are listening to this topic, because if you know these things, you will make a better choice of a husband or a wife. Because when we want to get married, we are getting married based on these principles. We are not getting married based on the look or the current situation of that man. This submissiveness is the reason why I can keep making videos and saying that please get to know that man before you get married to him. And I will say it again. The reason for that is, before you want to marry a man, you must know him a little bit to know that, can I submit myself to this man to lead me for the rest of my life? That is one important message I'm telling to everybody who is not yet married. Before you get married to a man or a woman, the man will ask himself this question before you get married to that woman. Can I love this woman unconditionally to the rest of my life? As well as the woman should be asking her question herself. Can I be submissive to this man to the rest of my life? Can I trust this man to lead me? That is the question we should be asking before we get married. But if we don't ask those questions, then now we are facing these difficulties to be the wife, to play that role as a wife. Hence the reason why there's a lot of divorce. But given the fact that we say some men are not able to do their role as the head, I must say, my sisters, that we need to trust the men sometimes. One of the problems the men have is that we, the ladies, do not trust them enough to lead us. To be honest, we, the ladies, do not trust them enough to lead us. Therefore, we tend to want to do things our own way rather than seeing or being patient and see what they will do. It is a very difficult thing. I am not lying. We are all learning. Myself, I am continuing to learn. But I have seen in my own experience, as I've been trying to practice this verse in the Bible, because it's a difficult verse to practice, and that is the key foundation of marriage. It's a difficult verse to hold fast to and try to make it work in your marriage. But what I have seen in my own little experience and has been going on in my own experience of trying to do this or doing this is that the more I trust my husband and close my eyes, you close it like this, you are still hoping that everything works out well, the more he is standing and the more he's becoming more responsible and the more he's becoming more leader. This is something that we ladies, we have to try. Try to step back. I am not saying that you are stepping back on things that are, harmful to your health. No. I am talking about giving him the opportunity to sometimes lead. A lot of times, we women, that's our one beauty God gave us, we are multitasker. So we can engage in too many things at one time. But men sometimes cannot engage in too many things at one time. But the fact that they don't say it, or you don't see as if they are doing it, because they are mostly the silenced ones, they don't talk like us, they might be doing stuff and we don't know they are doing it. And because we are the talkable, we are the one that are outspoken, our own is always more heard, while their own is more quiet. But if we start to step back sometimes and just let the men do their things, let the men do their things, we will start to see that the men will do more. That the men will do more if we do not try to interject on everything. If we do not try to bring our opinion. We have to bring our opinion, but we don't have to be the winner of every decision making in the house. We have to let them be the winner time to time. We have to let them, give them the opportunity to bring up an idea and execute the idea. When we start doing that, we will see that what happens when you do that is that you bring out the man in him. You bring out the man in a man when you start stepping back and letting him do more. You bring the man in him, because let's be honest here, whether we like it or not, every man is attractive to a submissive woman. Whether we like it or not, every man likes a woman who is humble and submissive to him. Every man, whether we like it or not. Just like we women, whether we like it or not, whether the men like it or not, every woman loves a man who shows her love. That is just our nature. There is no two ways about it. So why I'm emphasizing for women not to let the man, not to do their role in the house is very important, because once a man feels like he has no space in the house, your marriage will slowly break away. It's true. Once a man feels like he cannot talk to this woman, he cannot make any decision, he has no right, in fact, she will want to always be the winner, then there is a problem. But look at it on the flip side of it. If you start giving your husband the opportunity to be leading the house, he will start changing and start listening to you more. It is so funny. It is a thing that I don't know how I can explain it to you guys. When you start giving men opportunity to do things, they will start listening to you more. What will happen is, when you step back and he has to make decision, when he goes down the road and he has something that doesn't make sense of it, he will come back and say, what do you think about this? Before you know it, you are actually the one putting the whole program in place, but with him leading. Submissiveness does not mean that you are not playing a role in decision making in the house. You do. Actually, in fact, the more you're submissive, the more you will have more decisions to make. It's just that it is difficult for us because we have that preconceived mind that, hey, if I give this man every power now, he go do this. You know what he do with me? Go take and go trouble to get friend them. He go take your life, go this way, go do all the old things that I will not be part of it. You don't even care about me. It's not the case. Except that man is not a husband. Except that man is not a husband, to be honest. A man who is your husband for real, right? Who is your husband? When he says something, sometimes even I use that word a lot in my house. Sometimes I will say again, why did you ask me that question again? Because what I talk, you will do what you want to do. The reason why I say that is because there are some things that I know that they will ask your opinion, and you will say it, and they will go and do it differently. But look at what always happens. When you say it, they do it differently. And then, when they go and do it that their own way, and if it, sometimes it works, and then sometimes they go and get a glitch somewhere, they'll come back to you and say, what did you say again about that thing? And before you know it, you're repeating the steps. And then, they are trying to do it the way. But they are the one doing it, even though ideas might be coming from you. You guys ladies get what I'm saying? They are the one doing it. They are still the head. They are still making the final decision. But your ideas matters. Your opinion matters. It is not like you are speechless or you are voiceless when you say you're being submissive. No. Generally, if a man is the leader of the house, generally, a man who is a husband, who knows the importance of marriage, will always end up asking the wife's opinion. It will always, there is no way. Because a man who is a husband always wants the best for the wife. Always wants the best for the children. So even if he is the one making the decision, he will still want to make a decision that will be for the betterment of the family. Generally, that is how it is. So let me read somebody question here. Somebody Samuel from music. A second what you are explaining right now. Okay, say I second what you're explaining right now. Wow. So it was just somebody making a comment for me. So that's what I was trying to say. It is a difficult place, or difficult to understand this submission thing, because we sometimes feel like being submissive is more like a boss, and it's more like, we look at submissive generally in the sense of a boss and a worker, or we look at submissive like a master and a slave. You know, most of the time we always look at this submissive in a wrong light. That's why I'm talking about it today. So being submissive to your husband does not make you a stupid wife like most people say today. See that stupid one, anything you want to offer, you may talk for your husband. Anything you want to offer, no, it is not that. It is not that. Because some people do not yet understand the in-depth of marriage and the importance of marriage to a family. That's why they are saying that. Because to be honest, marriage is to become one. And remember, even the Bible says, I always say quote the Bible. Remember, your husband might not be the perfect man, but because the woman is doing her work well as a wife, your marriage will still be blessed. Your marriage will still be blessed despite your husband's behavior. It is vice versa to the husband. A good husband will still have a blessed marriage even if the wife is not the best. So what does that mean? It means that if one person in the house is doing their role, you should not pay attention to the other person, because at the end of the day, that person will see light to you, will see light on you down the road, even though currently they don't seem to understand the importance of you and him working together to make your marriage well. But because one person is not putting their 100% in the marriage, does not mean that the other person will not put their 100% in the marriage. That is the problem we have today. That is why most women are having hard time to be submissive or to submit to their husband, because they are seeing that their husband is not giving 100% in the marriage. The 100% meaning the husbands are not doing their own role, which is love your wife, cherish your wife, like Christ loved the church. That is the husband's own role that is given. But again, remember, two wrongs cannot make a right. The fact that your husband is not seeing light with you today doesn't mean he will not see light with you tomorrow. And the mistake that any woman can ever make in their marriage is to play the role of both. I swear, do not play the role of both. Keep playing your wife's role and intersect when it's necessary. Remember, because you're submissive does not mean you cannot intersect when it's necessary to support your husband. We still have to. There is this page in this woman in the Bible, one of the women in the Bible, the only time that the Bible mentioned for a woman to not be submissive, when the husband was it the time of David. The husband was there to make David mad. David almost want to kill the man, because that kind of a man that whatever the wife say, he never listen. Whatever somebody say, he never listen. The wife had to intercede to beg for his name, for his sake. That was a time she was not submissive, because she did not ask permission for the husband to do what she was supposed to do. She went ahead and did it because she saw that it was for safety for her husband and safety for the kids. So what does that mean? To me, that means that we should still be submissive to our husband, except when we see danger, then we can intercede for him. But besides that, until you see that danger, we still need to be submissive to our husband. And even after you see the danger, you intercede for him, you come back to your role. Some of these things happen so that the men can see that I need my wife. Sometimes God, we know who we are serving now. That man who doesn't want to listen to the wife today, tomorrow, and who doesn't want to be the head of the family, will eventually become the head of that family if you just keep playing your role, because God will give him reasons one day to see light. God will give him reasons one day to see light. And that is all me I'm saying. So do not compete with our husband. Marriage is not competition. Literally, it's not competition. There is no reason for us to compete with them. Whether woman competes with the husband or husband competes with wife, there is no reason for competition. You guys cannot even be competing, because everybody has their role. And if everybody plays their role correctly, there should be no reason for competition. We all have our good points, we all have our bad points, we all have our strength, and we all have our weakness. So if you are doing something that is your strength, why don't you do it correctly and not thinking whether the other person is putting in all? That's one of the problems we have in marriages today, is that we are thinking the other person is not putting all. And then another thing that is really a problem with this submitting thing that I want us to address is the fact that we keep saying that if we don't stand up there, the men will do whatever they want to do, and we are not sure of the future. Is this uncertainty of the future? That is one of the reasons why some women they go beyond their role and want to take over the men's role, because they are seen as if what the man is doing, they are uncertain about their future. But now let's talk about it. Do we want to live a life and forget about today and just pay only all attention about the future? The future is good, but we should not spoil today because we are trying to fix tomorrow. Because if you spoil today, there will be no tomorrow. That is one of the problems most women will make, is because we feel like, am I even sure this man, the way he do self? Eh? Am I even sure say me I ain't self tomorrow go last? Or the way he do self, am I even sure say they marry now forever ever? Also want to go as far as like, what if you not there now? We don't carry all things go put on for a village. What me I go do? Eh? The village people then they go drive me this and this. Listen, my sisters. That one said for that talk for village one. Another day topic that in fact we will talk that part this Thursday when you come. I will come live for more talk that part for women trying to secure future and trying to secure a future for when the man is not there, because that is one mistake most women will make today, and we refuse to see submissiveness because we believe he doesn't love us very much, he doesn't like us, he's not paying attention to us. And some of us even feel like if he's not there tomorrow, all this thing I build, all this thing I work will not be there. We'll talk about that part the next one on Thursday, about this working together as a team for building future. But submissiveness should be our responsibility as a woman. I know it is very hard, but when I say our responsibility, it means that is a command from God for women. Let's be honest. That is a command. See, the Bible has two commands for marriage. The first one for women is a woman must be submissive to the husband. The another command in the Bible for marriage is for the men. The men must love their wife. Those are the two commands that we have. So if we want to build a home, there is no way that home will function without these two very important equipment. There is no way that house can be functionable correctly for a longer time and both parties are happy without these two important factors inside. So whether we like it or not, whether we earn more or we earn less, whether our husbands are playing their roles or not, wife will need to be submissive to our husband. Yes, when it comes to your life being in danger, it is different. And also, yes, for you husbands, that today you believe that you will make your wife to be submissive. Let me tell you, husband, you cannot make your wife to be submissive. It is not, the Bible does not say, husband, make your wife be submissive. Let's get that clear. Because many men goes around beating their wives because in the name of she's very stubborn, she doesn't listen. Let's take that part also clear. Husband, your role is not to make your wife be submissive to you. Your role is to love your wife regardless. That is your role. Submissiveness is the woman's own role. And you have nothing to play in that except you just need to love her. That is your role, the husband. You just need to love her and put her first in every decision you are making. That is your role. And us, the women, our role is to be submissive and let the man be the head of the house. That is two roles. If we both parties can manage that role well, you have a happy home. I know people will say, but there are many marriages that are going today with anybody not being submissive. Everybody do what they want to do. In fact, many marriages are running well for the woman playing both roles. The woman is playing both roles. Yes. The fact that the marriage is running, the woman is playing both roles, it doesn't mean the woman is happy. It doesn't mean it's a happy marriage. There are many people who are in a marriage that are not a happy marriage. So because people stay in marriage for years and not being happy does not make them a good example for marriage. A good example for marriage should be somebody who is in the marriage and is happy. It's not about somebody being in marriage. Because if you are in marriage, you are 40 years, 30 years, and you don't, I mean, there are many people who are married, but we don't even know if they are married because they don't exhibit the signs and symptoms of husbands and wives. You don't see them as husband and wife. The way they act to each other, the way they behave to each other, you don't see them. It's just like people say that nowadays they call something called open marriage. People will cheat left and cheat right. That is not marriage. Because you are in that marriage for long does not mean that you know marriage. No. Marriage is how happy you can be in your marriage. A good marriage is people living in their house and actually are happy with their husbands and actually are happy with their wife. That is marriage. It's not just marriage because you are there for the name and because you are there because you don't want to divorce, because you don't want your children to say your wife is divorced. No, that's not marriage. Marriage is really trying to make things happy. That you are there because you love your husband, you are happy with your marriage. That is what we should try for. We should not be striving for marriage, you say, because many women are living happily in their marriage with being both the spouse. No, because they are doesn't make it right. And it does, and that kind of happiness they cannot sustain it. How long will you sustain a man that you feel that is with you, that feel pressed and oppressed all the time? You call that a husband? That is not a husband. That's just a man that has no choice. He feels like if he goes away, his life is useless. He stays there. But he stays there, he's not your husband, he's just there. We want husbands in the house, and we want wives in the house. We don't just want two people living together. No. We want husbands and wives in the house, working as a team to make their house. That's what I'm talking about. Let me read what somebody has said here. Somebody says here, let me read it. Somebody said, husband should long for submissive wife without secondary interest. So many husbands need to be educated on us being submissive. Sometimes husbands fail to see that their wife are submissive. That is so true. Now, let's talk this part some more. That is so true, my sister. Most men do not understand what submissiveness means. Submissiveness, my brother, not mean say that you a woman will lay flat for that man, you walk on top of his skin. No. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean that you just quiet her, that she has no input on what is going on in the house. No. If you are allowing your wife to not have a say on anything going on in your house, then by the way, let me tell you, any man who is hearing, you are not being a husband in that house. Because a real husband in a house will put their wife's priority first. That is a husband in the house. A real husband of the house will put their wife's priority first. That is when I say a leader. When we say a leader in the house, dear husbands, are you hearing me? When we say a leader in the house, you lead by example. You don't lead by terrorizing people around you. Because I feel like some of you out there, men, you feel like if they say the wife should be submissive, means that you say, Piam, I slap you. No. No. That is not what submissive means. They should respect you. They should give you the opportunity to make decisions in the house. Yes. But at the same time, you, husband, should respect and cherish that wife. Because remember, remember, 1 Peter 3:7. When I go read them, 1 Peter 3:7 say, husband, love and cherish your wife like Christ loved the church. That's a suggestion. And the same Bible goes and say, husband, if you want your prayers to be answered, you must treat your wife with respect as your heir on this earth. You must treat your wife with respect. So if you are there, a husband, and you feel that you want to make a woman be submissive by diminishing her, by disrespecting her, by not making anything she says matters to you, you are not playing your role as a man. This thing is a twine, it intertwines. You are the head of the family. You lead the family in the ways of the Lord. In the ways of the Lord. Meaning you love and cherish your wife. That is the way of the Lord. Unconditionally. And the wife will be a submissive and respect you unconditionally. It is a two-balance equation thing.